Howdy, folks. I'm Nim Jickles. This is the Ain't That a Bitch podcast. Welcome to episode 22. It's the one. Unless you counted Shrek 2 as episode 20, in which case this would be 23, I guess. I don't know. I think I uploaded that as episode 20 of the podcast was just Shrek 2, and then I forgot about it. So then now we're only on episode. So then the next one I recorded, I called that episode 20, and then 21, and then now we're on 22. What happened to the Morbius movie? Am I right, fellas? What's the deal with I'm kidding. It was probably delayed, I assume, by COVID, and then they just stopped. And no one was excited enough for it anyways to be concerned or whatever, so I guess that's fair. If you didn't know, Sony, was marginally more successful. Heavens knows it was more successful in The Amazing Spider-Man, so they were real excited about Venom not totally failing. I mean, it was an alright movie, to be perfectly honest, and so then they were like, let's do more of the marginal horror genre, which Venom, by the way, wasn't. I remember I heard the things about it. It was like, Venom might be R-rated, and I was like, that'd be pretty cool because Venom's a pretty R-rated character. And then it wasn't. It was honestly a marginally funny, slightly humorous, just like a Marvel movie with an anti-hero who looked a little bit scarier than, I guess. So a villain and a hero who are both less threatening and less terrifying than the Abomination from the Incredible Hulk. So, I mean, what's the point? I guess there was a little bit more of the horror element, which essentially is when he's walking around in the lab and then gets jump scared by some black oil. I guess that counts as horror. Regardless, they're like, so we just did a horror movie, which is what Venom was, and so now we're gonna do more of that kind of stuff. So they went straight to vampires, which is what Morbius is. If you don't know, it's one of Spider-Man's enemies, but just an overall undead villain. He also ties in with there is like a whole undead side of Marvel where, like, see, normally the movies, or at least the Marvel Studios movies, don't want to touch on that because it kind of defeats the point of being superheroes. When it's comic books, you can do whatever the fuck you want. I mean, they crossed over with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Transformers, for fuck's sake. Like, absolutely anything you can imagine, because it's just comic. They're comic property. So any comic book studio, like Marvel Comics, can make Transformers comics. They're not going to be in a Marvel movie. Why? Universal bought the rights to the Transformers characters. I don't know. Fucking copyright's wild waters. So, point is, usually they treat the horror things kind of the same. I say horror. The comics weren't really horror. It was just, Marvel Comics did, vampires and werewolves and zombies or whatever. Because, you're a comic book company. You're essentially making picture books for teenagers, generally teenage boys. Yeah, how long can you go before you start touching on just Halloween monsters? So that was one of the things. There was good guys who were like Halloween monsters. The Howling Commandos, which was, I guess it was just one of those things where whoever was writing it realized that it was just too easy to not take the Howling Commandos, which was Captain America's team, and then remake them as the werewolf and other undead people, and they were the Howling Commandos again. Anyways, it's not that important. The point is, though, Morbius, I guess, being slightly more mainstream, vampires did make it a little bit further into Marvel in that they did they had Blade, and Blade did get a movie, right? So I guess that's the thing. And he's a half vampire, and he would fight vampires. And then Morbius was more than just Halloween Land crew. He also was just a Spider-Man villain. So regardless, point is, they're doing Morbius, and I guess he's gonna be probably worse than. I feel like he's gonna be more of an actual bad guy than Venom because they somehow made Venom like totally good and redeemable. Even the Venom symbiote itself is totally a good guy. Eddie Brock is totally a good guy. I mean, that's the interpretation, I guess. It's just I feel like if you're gonna bother being like, we're gonna take a completely new angle and do horror now, and so how are you gonna do horror with Marvel characters? You focus on the villain. That actually makes some sense, especially a character like Venom who is so deeply seated in his own mythos, his own story. Now that Marvel's taking Spider-Man back, it's like, what do you have left with? You're not going to make a standalone Sandman movie, but if you're going to do any one Spider-Man villain and give them a whole movie to themselves with no Spider-Man in it, Venom would make a lot of sense. Especially because he basically looks like a palette swap Spider-Man movie, and although they didn't think of it at the time, it's very topical with the Black Lives Matter movement, as it were. Point is, they then made him a hero. Like, I mean, that's not how horror movies work. That you have monsters and they're bad and they kill people. Like I guess the main character in a horror movie is usually still whatever the survivor human teenage girl is. But then, like, one of the most important characters is the, I guess, antagonist, because horror movies just follow a totally different formula of lots of times, the bad guys win. And it's not that bad of, I guess it's a bad thing, but that's how it works. It's a horror movie. It's about the monster. No one remembers the quote-unquote heroes because there's no heroes in a horror movie. Usually it's just there's the bad guy and then the people who are trying not to die. You can't kill them. Usually. But so that's my point, is like, from the one trailer that came out, I feel like Morbius is actually going to be something like a horror movie where the guy goes evil, and again, because they're trying to tie it into the Marvel Cinematic Universe somehow, because Sony is just 100% simping Marvel, which, I mean, is fair. So I don't think they're gonna just go straight up and be like, we have vampires now. I think there's definitely a scientific thing in there. Again, if you watch the trailer, it's kind of like the first Batman movie, or I don't know the first, but like I think the Tim Burton Batman movie where like he falls down the well and a giant bat flies towards him. It's a weird. Tim Burton's a weird guy. Anyways, point is, like a bunch of bats fly at him. I don't know what it has to do with becoming a vampire. I really don't. But it's like he's got a disease and then he gets some serum thing that makes him a vampire, which I think is pretty close to the comic origin story as well. But like, they're probably not gonna just say he's a vampire in the movie. They're gonna kind of tiptoe around it like fucking Walking Dead, where they're just gonna be like, he's a bloodthirsty, undead, bat shape-shifting thing, but he just looks like a vampire, which he is. And I think, he just goes crazy and kills people. I don't think he's supposed to be the hero there, which is cool. Kind of giving me, Unbreakable vibes of, like, I don't know what you would call that series, but like where you had Unbreakable where the guy was a hero, and then you had Split, which was just a horror movie that was about, like I said, how most horror movies are. It's about Mr. Split kidnapping, girls or whatever, and then they stop him or something, but he doesn't die. And then you have Glass, which is about the hero again and the villain, right? So that one's actually like a superhero movie. And then Split, I'll be honest, Split was very well concealed, as like people will say, oh yeah, an M. Night Shyamalan connected universe is like one of the most, is probably the least twisted plot twists that he could have come up with, since everyone's doing a connecting universe now. But I will say, Unbreakable was the M. Night Shyamalan superhero movie. M. Night Shyamalan usually does, I guess, thriller, horror. You could probably consider some of his movies horror. Examples like the Avatar movie, but Unbreakable, not nearly so much. It was not a horror movie. It was just a superhero movie, but I guess supposed to be slightly more realistic. And then Split was totally back to Blumhouse horror. It's just bad guy killing people or doing whatever. Go. But then it turns out, Split is connected then to Unbreakable, and it's just like, really not the same feeling kind of movie, but then you turns out, oh, it's just like watching a superhero movie where the villain's the main character. That's what I thought Venom was going to be like. It wasn't. It sounds like that's what Morbius is going to be like. And then, like, so what happens? Is it like a horror movie where no one can stop him? It's just a bunch of regular people with, like, you know, pistols trying to shoot a vampire? Or does, you know, Venom show up or something? I don't know, because then, you know, maybe we're thinking supposedly Spider-Man 3 is going to have Venom and or Carnage in it, or are they going to do a Carnage movie? Is that a sequel to Venom? Is that connected? Because the Morbius trailer had a whole tease where they had the fucking Michael Keaton Vulture character talk to Morbius when he was like a human or whatever, and then there's a Spider-Man graffiti on the wall, and so they're all throwing these hints like, oh, we're gonna, you know, write in Spider-Man. It's a lot of the same issues I had with The Mandalorian, where it's like cool ideas seem to work well, but you're choosing really weird places to fit it in. It's like, I get why Sony want to do a horror thing, because they want it to be different than Marvel, and I also get why Sony would want to link up with Marvel using some of the villains that actually it's an incredible benefit to both of them if Disney will ever decide to work with anyone else for a change, you know, be a team player. It would be great because Marvel can focus. Obviously, COVID has put everything on hold, but assuming they get back to regular pace of movie making at some point, Disney or Marvel continues to make their movies, and they have a lot that's coming. Thor: Love and Thunder. After the Black Widow movie comes out, Thor: Love and Thunder, Eternals, shit, that girl with the 10 rings. Anyways, Black Panther 2, all that stuff. While that's happening, you know, and then how long are we going to have to wait for a fucking Spider-Man movie who is the front runner of the Marvel universe, always has been, right? Even before, you know, now, and now that Iron Man's dead, like, he can take that place again, because Iron Man basically took the place of that when the Raimi Spider-Man movies ended and weren't tied into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You had a whole new thing, the soft reset with Tony Stark. Now that he's dead, basically, I would imagine they're going to go back to Peter Parker. So having Spider-Man spread across 2 different film studios, I mean, that's the kind of collaboration that would be really cool to see, honestly. I don't know, it's an interesting thing of Marvel movies have already broken contemporary cinema and our idea of, or actually they've molded contemporary cinema, broken the ideas of traditional classic cinema as we all believe that they existed, so much so that I think it's only fitting that they continue to do that now, going into a, you know, phase 4, which I guess, I don't know if they are going to split it again, where the first 3 phases are Infinity Saga, I don't know, the second, era of Marvel, maybe. But yeah, the first thing they did was, I mean, let's be honest, Connected Universe had been around forever. They just weren't as successful. It doesn't mean that it was a new idea that Marvel came up with, right? Okay. Stephen King, you know, was writing Connected Universes for ages. But anyways, but they did a thing of having movies that weren't sequels to one another, but were self-referential, having movies that where you come and watch this movie and without having watched, you know, the movies before it, and you are completely lost, you cannot enjoy it, but it's successful, right? Once upon a time, that would have been a sign of a bad movie. If, you know, even direct sequels to other movies can kind of stand alone. It's like, you know, if you think about, I guess, I never watched the Fast and Furious movies, to be honest, but the Mission Impossible movies, each one follows they're pretty repetitive. They all follow a very similar formula. Surprisingly solid series of movies, though. I really thought I was gonna go like Transformers, just shoot downhill immediately. Honestly, some of them got better the later it went. But yeah, it's like every movie is Tom Cruise shows up, someone gets him to do a thing, he does the thing, everyone thinks it's impossible, and then he does it. So and then saves the day. He almost dies. He doesn't. He shoots 2 pistols while jumping sideways, and then the movie's over. Like, that's every single movie. The only ones that were somewhat connected after... See, the story became connected after the third one. Like, the first and second just totally stand on their own. Then the third one, it's like, now it's connected story. 3, 4, 5, and then now 6 is the newest one. All follow a general storyline, and 5 and 6 are the only ones where they have the same main villain kind of. The main villain in 6 is, I mean, okay, in 6 the main villain from 5 is like the secondary villain, and that's kind of their way of. Point is, I could watch any one of those. I wouldn't enjoy it nearly as much, but you know, like my grandparents or something could absolutely sit down, and if it's playing on the TV, watch any of the Mission Impossible movies and get the general idea of, oh, this young lad is good at doing impossible things and having them not be impossible, I guess. I don't know. Marvel movies not like that, right? You go and watch Infinity War, you aren't gonna enjoy it very much. Like, you might enjoy the action sequences, you might enjoy the comedy, but the action you'll enjoy less because you don't know who's fighting who. You don't, especially when it's not just people shooting guns, right? Again, something with like the Mission Impossible movies, or I would assume the Fast and Furious movies, is just it's people in cars but also with guns. Mission Impossible is people with guns but also like disguises. Okay, so you can go into the movie and be like, oh, this person sure can shoot a gun really well and jump really far. You go and watch any of the John Wick movies, like, man, this guy beats the shit out of everyone. But also, that's a thing that humans can do. I mean, John Wick is more super than Batman, let's be honest. But he's just doing things that he's just shooting good. Okay, you go into a Marvel movie, never having seen a Marvel movie before, never having read a Marvel comic, something as huge as Infinity War or Endgame, and you're like, okay, so what the fuck? He shoots things out of his hands. He shoots different things out of his hands. He climbs on walls. He can fly. Doesn't have superpowers. What? He has a bow and arrow. He turns big and green. Or he's already big and green, whatever. He's got fucking suits of armor. She's got mind powers. He's really fast. What the fuck is going on? Like, how do I follow this? You don't even recognize what the fucking characters are. I just supposed to tell the difference between Scarlett Johansson and Scarlet Witch. It's ludicrous. It's madness. So the action is not going to be as enjoyable because you don't know why any people can do the things that they can do. You don't know, and especially if it's something like, a power that they don't normally use. Like, you go and watch Civil War, and it's like, when Giant Man gets big, everyone loses their shit, and it's like, I don't understand. I didn't know he could turn small. Why would I be extra surprised that he can turn big? It's pretty much the same thing. And the comedy, a lot of times, is self-referential, so that's not going to be as funny either. You're not going to get, Peter Quill's footloose joke or any callback or anything, right? So, and then the story, I didn't even say the story because that's pointless. There's nothing to the story, right? You're not going to find any benefit. What the fuck are the Infinity Stones? Why do they already have like 4 of them and there are only 2 that they haven't seen yet or whatever? I mean, there's only the Soul Stone. In Infinity War, like, how come there's 5 of these fucking stones and there's just 1? Where did they come from? Where'd they go? Where'd they come from? Cotton Eye fucking Joe. What's this nowhere? Who's this collector guy? Why am I supposed to care about him? He's not even real. What is this supposed to mean? Is he just a made up person? Am I supposed to recognize him? What the fuck's going on? Makes no sense at all. But the movies are so wildly successful because everyone follows them. Like a fucking cult, okay? That's Marvel movies were able to do that. That was like a 5-minute explanation of a 20-second concept. Point is, Marvel movies changed the game for movie making. I think if the next thing that they do is this cross studio collaboration, that would be really cool. I really think so, because Marvel's got Fox characters, and they merged with Fox, right? They didn't buy out 20th Century Fox, so that's, in a lot of ways, it's like a collaboration. We don't know what their plan is yet, right? It's entirely possible that they're just gonna completely hard reset all the characters and storylines, Okay, it's possible that, Dark Phoenix was the last time we're ever going to see that cast, or, and the last time we're ever going to see those characters in that way. Whenever they decide to introduce X-Men or Fantastic Four characters into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, it might be totally different. Like, Wolverine and Xavier haven't met. Xavier and, Magneto might be young, they might be old, the X-Mansion might not even have been built. Well, I'm sure it'll be, I don't know, who fucking knows? Or they might pick up right where they left off. I find that unlikely, but the one thing is, some of the casting is so well done. I wouldn't be incredibly surprised if they kept just some of the good ones. If they kept, I don't know. I honestly can't tell you, because first of all, the prequels, the X-Men prequels are pretty good. Apocalypse isn't great. Honestly, Days of Future Past isn't amazing, but First Class is really good as far as X-Men movies go. I mean, if you think about it, the first X-Men is all right, the second one's pretty good, and the third one's trash. So, there's the first of each trilogy is really all that you need to bother with, and then you just X-Men Origins wasn't even a valid movie. It was just a mess. It was nonsense. So yeah, there's not that much of a universe to destroy if Disney chose to do so. But the characters, what are they gonna do? Because in the comics, when it starts, I'm sure they go back in time in plenty of comics. Not even talking about like cable time travel. Just the comic storyline itself is like, this is before Xavier opened his home for peculiar children, and then you would have young Magneto and young Xavier, which makes a lot of sense. But for most of the runtime of the main story of the X-Men, it's old Xavier, the teacher, which makes sense. He doesn't need to fight. He's a telepath. And then honestly, what's a little weird to me is old Magneto. I get it because he's the leader, like he's the manipulator of other mutants that they fight. They do fight Magneto a lot, though, so it is a little funny. It's like, Xavier, I'm old, I'm in a wheelchair, I sit back, but I can see all kinds of things. It's a great premise, right? It's like the mentor in a world where everyone's got basically random superpowers that could be anything at all. The mentor who's old and crippled and can't fight. What better power for him to have than to see into other people's minds? And when it's enhanced by technology, you can find like anyone at all on the planet by looking into their minds. But then Magneto, same exact age as this old guy, but he's like, fuck you, look at me, I can walk around and fight and stand and fly around and zoom around and throw metal things and lift satellite dishes all day long. I don't give a fuck. And he's really out on the front lines all the time. So which one of those are they going to go for? Do they want to, have to deal with young Xavier, or are they going to want to have to deal with old Magneto? Because both provide challenges to the story. Well, young Xavier is weird for the story-wise, but old Magneto is difficult for, getting an actor to go around. And the other thing is, so again, I'm talking about casting, like Ian McKellen and Patrick Stewart are just perfect for their roles as the old Xavier and Magneto. Hugh Jackman is Wolverine. I don't know how you could get anyone else. Everyone else, like Scott Summers was good, but I could see, like, honestly, I could even see like Tom Cruise doing it, because I feel like Tom Cruise, oh no, he's old now. I was thinking of like young Tom Cruise. I was gonna say Tom Cruise definitely is gonna flip his shit if he doesn't ever manage to make it into the Marvel universe somehow. But yeah, he might not. But like, anyways, I could see other people as Cyclops. Halle Berry was great, but I could see other people as Storm. I could see other people as Jean Grey. But I couldn't see those three. But then if they do young, Xavier's great. I love, if I can remember his name, I love him so much. Yeah, I don't even know what he's called. Fuck. I can never remember this guy. I always get him mixed up with Jude Law. I know it's not Jude Law. It's the other one. I can only remember Jude Law. But he's great. But Michael Fassbender, anyone else as Magneto, I don't know if it's possible. He's so fun to watch as an actor. I love Michael Fassbender. So yeah, are they going to change the casting? Are they going to change the timeline? I have no fucking clue. But that's, in a lot of ways, combining the two studios' characters. If they reset it, not so much. But Sony, doing the same thing with Sony, that's absolutely, the two have nothing to do with each other. Like, that's a big fucking deal. If they connect the universes, if they make Venom and whenever Morbius comes out canon in line with Spider-Man from the MCU's Spider-Man, that's cool. Again, it's not unexpected on the surface level, because people are just like, well, yeah, what else would they do, right? Sony is terrible at making movies without Marvel's help. Marvel needs, the rights to the villains that Sony probably will never give up, the rights to Venom now that they've actually made a movie. So why wouldn't they do it? But you then have to consider, if you consider what the implications are behind that, that makes it way more interesting, because it's like, it's not just, yeah, of course they're going to merge. Okay, but what does that mean? Because, yeah, they're just going to do the characters. They're going to, like I just said, it's giving MCU access to the villains that they want from Sony and giving Sony access to making good movies. But then, the genres. First of all, Sony decided to go take a very different take with the tone. Is Spider-Man going to follow that tone? Or are they going to make Venom lighthearted? I mean, they made Venom pretty humorous, which I assume will line him up better. Morbius does not seem humorous at all. It seems like very much just a horror movie. So, is he even going to make an appearance with Spider-Man? It's possible that it's like a Universal's Dark Universe, which never happened. Or Batman v Superman, which also never happened, where maybe the point of Morbius is to link those things in, Morbius is just some guy, just some scientist doing his thing, and he goes evil, and then who knows what happens. Venom stops with Spider-Man, I don't know. I said Spider-Man, no. What if Spider-Man doesn't show up at all, but Michael Keaton shows up? Also, Michael Keaton shows up, like, as just a guy. It sounds to me like a prequel, right? Or not prequel, because it's not in the same... They're not officially in the same universe, but it would just take place earlier in the timeline than the first Spider-Man Homecoming movie. Or was he in jail? I'd have to watch the trailer again, but I'm pretty sure he was just doing a thing, and he used to work in cleanup. He used to work in like construction or cleanup or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, his job was just cleaning up after the Battle of New York from Avengers 1, and then that's when he went supervillain, taking Chitauri tech. So if this takes place before any of that, that would make perfect sense, because there's no Spider-Man yet. Oh no, but fuck, there's a Spider-Man wall graffiti. Never mind. All right, so Michael Keaton was in prison. Fuck. Either way, though, Spider-Man doesn't have to get involved. It could still be happening at any point where Spider-Man's just, I don't know, doing something else. And they never have to actually meet. It's just for those things. Like, there's going to be a news story in the background talking about Mysterio, or, because of the end of Far From Home, everyone found out who Spider-Man's identity was. So there's really this, so that can't be used as a plot point. And JJJ's back, and, we're looking at Sinister Six or something happening. Morbius is not going to be part of the Sinister Six. So I would find it much more likely that MCU focuses on developing Sinister Six. However they do that, I don't know. Sony is going to take the Morbius movie to be like, we're doing this. Make it official. We're merging into the MCU's Spider-Man movies. If they decide to do that, which I'm almost certain that they will. After that, they can continue to make movies to establish villains who maybe aren't part of the Sinister Six, or start to develop more complex storylines. They might have Venom and Carnage movie, all without Spider-Man. While MCU, again, they're making so many other movies. So once every 2, 3, 4 years, how often can they make a Spider-Man movie? Right? This is a timeline spanning so many years, it's ridiculous. I mean, if you think about the original MCU timeline, how far ahead they had to project, it's happening again. It's going to happen again, surely. I mean, I'm sure they've got a Phase 4 plan that we know nothing about in the works, and it's just going to look like something or other. So Spider-Man movies keep coming out, and then maybe they do a Sinister Six thing in like 2 movies. Maybe they do one more movie, Spider-Man, or I don't know, maybe they do a trilogy. I have no clue what the plan is. I don't read a lot of those articles. This may be really silly shit that I'm spouting. People might know exactly what's going on, and I don't, but whatever. It's a talking point, so fuck you. The Spider-Man, the third one might do Sinister Six, because I almost got enough. What I have watched is the film theory or whatever on it, which I like quite a bit. It's because we've got the Vulture, who's one of the recurring members of Sinister Six. We've got the Shocker, Mysterio, who, Mysterio very easily might not be dead, and even if he is, he's just he was only an idea anyways, right? I mean, the technology, what's his name? Quentin Beck just provided the technology, right? He's not he wasn't the brains really, because the technology exists, and you can always just buy more tech off of other people, like the Vulture, who is the guy who gets his hands on alien tech, right, and then he's got all his other people who program the drones to do the shit that he wants and make. Anyways, point is, so anyone could be Mysterio. Honestly, anyone can be Mysterio. But you got Mysterio, Vulture, Shocker. There were more. There were more that were. Who? I mean, one thing is the idea that guy who was working with Nick Fury, Dimitri, is the chameleon, which, because that is the name of the chameleon, is Dimitri or whatever, and he's just like a shapeshift guy, so they're thinking, Dimitri might be a Skrull in disguise who's gonna go bad, and that would make sense, but who knows, might just be a name drop. We've got fucking Aaron Davis, who's the Prowler, right? So he might. I don't know if they're going to go with that. I feel like his purpose was more to introduce Miles. Not that I don't want the Prowler. The Prowler would be awesome to introduce. But, we just saw the Prowler with... I don't know. I would be willing to see it. But we did just see the Prowler in Into the Spider-Verse. He's not the most compelling bad guy character at the moment. The, Donald Glover's character in when he was in Homecoming. He's just kind of like a petty crook kind of guy. He wouldn't have any motivation to fight Spider-Man, right? So it would not be compelling. I think it was for the name drop, which Marvel has done plenty of, right? It's for the name drop. Most important part is Miles is then being introduced through the Prowler. So I don't feel like we're gonna get the Prowler, but regardless, we got a majority of the Sinister Six built up, and then the third Spider-Man movie would just have to introduce like one or two more, just Doc Ock or Green Goblin, and then someone else. Or it's really all you need, right? And then you go right into Sinister Six in that same movie, and then third Spider-Man movie can be Sinister Six, and I don't know what's gonna happen, but if that's what they decide to do, then that would happen, and then the fallout of that is, what's Spider-Man 4 going to be about? Are you going to introduce a new villain? Psych, no, because Venom and Carnage have already gotten their 2 movies, right? Because I'm pretty sure that's the next thing, right? Venom and Carnage are getting a movie after, again, whenever Morbius happens. I don't know what they're doing with that. And then whatever it's called, Absolute Carnage or whatever. I don't know if Venom and Carnage are going to fight, or are they going to be allies? Are they going to... I have no clue. It's entirely possible that Venom... I would say it's entirely possible that, I don't know, Sony is not clearly not the ballsiest studio. Their animation studio actually is quite ballsy. They, dared to make the Emoji Movie, and then again dared to make Into the Spider-Verse, which is what happens when you're brave, is, one can turn out as good as the Into the Spider-Verse movie, and one can turn out as bad as the Emoji Movie. So... but anyways, Sony live action movies have generally been like, not, again, I don't know what Morbius is going to be like, but Venom was not, they did not push it. They did not commit to being like, we're just doing horror now. Okay, this is going to be a horror movie. This is going to be Venom. He's going to eat people. He did eat people, as off camera. He's going to fucking eat people. He's going to be a villain. He's going to just murder people and wear their skin or some shit. I mean, he's the fucking Joker with powers. Are they going to do that with Carnage? I would be very impressed. And I don't know if I would like the product, but I would at the very least be able to appreciate whatever came out of it. I would be able to appreciate that they took the risk and did it. If Absolute Carnage was, a full R-rated Carnage horror film of just him doing God knows what. Like, I don't know if they're going to go with his like Chosen One arc. It was a weird thing where Carnage was like, I'm part of this prophecy. He's like the red child or whatever, and he's going to go and probably destroy the world or eat the world or something. I didn't read all into it, but I don't know if they're going to do that, or just in general him just, running around killing people, since he's already a psychopath as a human. And then Venom has... Either way, I'm sure Venom's going to have to go stop him. But, this has happened plenty of times in the past. Venom and Carnage fought, but also plenty of times Venom and Carnage teamed up, and they're both villains of Spider-Man. Because Venom and Carnage are fighting each other doesn't mean that either one of them is necessarily working with Spider-Man. Spider-Man has definitely helped Venom fight Carnage before because Carnage is a nut job, but that doesn't make them friends or anything. So if they just straight up put Spider-Man into Sony's Carnage movie, that'd be interesting. It'd be interesting. Again, I know I was just saying I want, Sony and Disney to just not balls to the wall merge or, collab on this. But I don't know how it might feel forced, right? Like, I want development for Carnage. I love the idea of I love the character of Carnage and Venom, but I love that they're doing Carnage finally because we have seen Venom before. So I would prefer to have a movie that really just did Carnage as it was, and I would think, maybe there's a thing where Carnage and Venom fight. I don't know, maybe neither wins. Something happens. The symbiotes start talking, and Carnage maybe convinces his dad, it's like, or mom, I don't know what Venom is. It convinces its parent. It's like, why would we fight each other? We're the last of our species, because I think that is part of the movie, what the movie universe has introduced, which is like, they already had, what's his name, Rave or something? Whatever, I can never remember that guy. Anyways, there was a bunch of symbiotes that came with Venom, not just Venom. So they pretty much hyper-accelerated that plotline of just, all the symbiotes came to Earth and then they all died. I don't know, maybe there's still some on their planet, but point is, a lot of them have died. There's none on Earth, okay? Venom is an outcast, he's a loner, and then he straight up shits a baby onto, Cletus, and it's like, so now they're the only two symbiotes. Maybe they work together, and then Brock does become a villain. So, and this is what I'm saying would be very ballsy of Sony to do. Venom and Carnage, what if it just ends totally bad? Like, they fight each other, even from the get-go, there's not really a good outcome. Venom, I guess, would be the good guy fighting Carnage to stop him from killing more people, but it's not like it's still not the same as a hero versus a villain. Venom isn't inherently a good guy, and he created Carnage. But then in the end, what if they actually straight up team up? They are just, and it just ends with Eddie Brock getting the Venom symbiote back on him, and it's like, I'm gonna just start. I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat people now. I'm not gonna stop myself from just eating people. I don't know. Eddie Brock might lose control, or however they want to interpret it, because Eddie and Venom in the movie had a pretty. He went out of control at the start, but then they basically reached a mutual relationship, which it is called a symbiote, I guess. That's fair. And then Cletus and Carnage work perfectly together because Cletus, what he does have of a mind is absolutely just as sadistic as Carnage himself, so they work together perfectly. So I don't know how they're going to do that, but I think that would be pretty cool. Venom and Carnage both end up villains, no good ending, but it leads perfectly into Spider-Man 4, where he fights both Venom and Carnage at the same time. Probably towards the end gets Venom back on his side, and then it's Venom and Spider-Man vs. Carnage. Will that be too much Venom and Carnage for 2 movies? Probably. And especially since then once Spider-Man gets introduced, it's even more people that all still just look like Spider-Man, because Venom and Carnage and Spider-Man all pretty much are going to look the same. Yeah, you'd probably get sick of it, but it'd be cool. It'd be a brave move, I'd say. But what the heck? Where's the Morbius movie? Anyways, that's my Marvel thing. I haven't done a Marvel thing in quite some time, so we were due for one, right? Other thing I've been talking about. I keep seeing memes. I see a lot of memes of people talking about this, And apparently there's a thing where people are really into, they really want a cave update for Minecraft. And those of you listening, go ahead and nod or shake your heads in agreement or dissent. Not that it'll make a difference to me, but yeah, so I guess that's the case for at least a majority of people, or maybe it's just the louder minority, but I would be willing to bet that there's quite a few people out there who I guess want a cave update for Minecraft, and that's fine. I could see the benefits of that, but like there was one meme that I saw that really took it to the extreme of not just only saying, not only having a meme, it was not very funny. It was just kind of like, whatever, Minecraft players waiting for the cave update. Oh, funny reaction image. And then the title of the post is like, no one asked for the Nether update. I mean, yeah, they did, right? Because people have been wanting a cave update forever, but way, way, way before then, Minecraft Mojang did like polls and stuff, and people voted on people fucking voted on the Nether update, right? I'm not full of shit, am I? But this was like years ago. It was like 2 years ago or whatever. People voted to do the Nether update, but then they already had, update aquatic. They already had the aquatic update, and then they had to do bug fixes, so they added bees, and then they updated villages, and then they got to Nether, because it's not like the polls were never meant to be like, this is our next update, is whatever you vote for now, right? It's like, this is what we're going to start working on, because you vote for it, people, whatever, they get the results, then they start to work on it, right? It's not like they have 3 fully completed updates, and then whichever one people vote for, it's like, all right, that's the one that gets released. No, you decide, and that's what they start to work on. That's going to take like at least a year. So people did ask for the Nether update. Maybe you forgot about it, but they did a while ago. And then after that, I'm pretty sure people have asked for a mountains update. So, yeah, we're getting a mountains update. Before we get cave, even before we get cave update. Sorry, and I guess they want to add goats or something. I'll be honest, I don't see that much benefit in goats. I don't get it. Like, if they can climb up sheer wall, like cliff sides, if they can just climb up, no space or whatever, that'd be pretty cool. Admittedly, that'd be really cool. But otherwise, like, what do they provide, right? What mechanics, what drops? They're goats. They're just sheep, right? In the mountains, they're just mountain sheep. If Minecraft wanted to do like a texture change where sheep that spawn in the mountains look like goats, I'd be down for that, but that's not adding anything to the game. It's just a slight tweak, so I would not accept that as an update just for that, right? But yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do with goats? Like, you can't really ride them. If you want to put things on them, then they're just small llamas, right? That's what I want to know. I feel like to justify adding goats to the mountain, you have to make them more useful than llamas, because llamas are already not that useful, but you need to at least do more than that for the goats. Like, what are they going to drop? Well, we have sheep, what can you do with them? I suppose you can milk them, but cows already spawn everywhere, unless they're gonna, I don't know, I have no idea. I'm not terribly excited for a mountain update. I have to say, unless they pull some, like, maybe that will be the cave update. Mountain caves. That'd be pretty cool. Mountain caves would be pretty cool. What I was thinking? Volcanoes, okay? Not easy to access, actually. That's kind of the point. No, but, accessible, surface, exposed lava. Practically infinite sources of lava for those who don't want to go mining for obsidian or whatever. You need lava, okay? You don't want to go, because you can't make infinite lava sources, okay? So you have to go find lava sources, and that's a pain in the ass. All right, it's a huge hassle to go find pools of lava, or I guess if you're gonna find them on the surface, exposed lava, it's just gonna be little pools. It's not gonna be enough, right? If you go mining, you gotta go mining, and then what? Do you build your Nether portal in the underground? Sure, I guess that's again a pain in the ass. So volcanoes don't have to be active. If they were, that'd be really cool. Or just inactive volcanoes. lava sitting in the bottom, magma blocks and shit around the side, and then it'd look cool, right? It'd make volcanoes cooler. It would provide lava, and then you have opportunities for some new blocks, right? So this is what I'm thinking. Okay, for too long, Minecraft has just okay. I've always had an issue with the fact that Minecraft just accepts stone as a thing, right? I get it. Minecraft is not hyper realistic, and it would be sad to see stone go away. But that's not really a thing that exists, okay? Like, roses exist, and they didn't even manage to survive Minecraft. They wiped them out, changed them for poppies, and then added rose bushes. Minecraft is slowly working towards, hopefully, I'm hoping that the eventuality is Minecraft becomes real life but more pixelated, okay? Minecraft just becomes the real world, but blocks. In which case, you can't just call the things under the ground stone. I mean, there's nothing just called stone. It would have to be a type of stone. So I've been saying for years, Minecraft needs to add, just call it limestone. That's, if you ever read a book and the author's like, they came across a stone and there was some rock here. It was probably limestone, because that's just the default. That's the fallback. They always fall on limestone. So, I don't know what to tell you. Because cobblestone is fine, because cobblestone is a thing. It's just rocks put together. So you can keep cobblestone, which is great, because that's a far more iconic block than stone is. And then call stone, just change the name of stone. You don't even have to change how it looks. Although limestone is a little yellower than just stone. Anyways, but I'm not even saying you need to do that. If you had volcanoes, because limestone would be the sedimentary rock, right? It would make sense. That's what you would just find in most places when you dig underground. Again, I think it would be cool if any of these kinds of rocks could be made into cobblestone. Like, we got diorite and granite and andesite. God knows why. If you want gray shit, you have andesite. But if you want to make cobblestone, and I guess those can be found anywhere, but if you want to make cobblestone, I would say, why not make it, kind of geographical? Like, if you dig, most places you just dig under the ground, like by rivers and valley, like the fields and shit, the plains. You dig underground, you're just gonna find like limestone. If you're in like but if you're, I don't know about mountains, you would still probably find. But if you're near like a volcano, then maybe you're gonna find a different type of rock. I don't know what type of rock. Common. I lost William, so I don't have him to start Google this shit for me. But granite, marble, and limestone are the most common types of natural stone. Well, why the fuck are we paying so much for granite and marble shit, huh? Well, that's bullshit. What the hell? Oh yeah, quartz. I mean, I can't believe quartz ended up being another thing somehow. Quartz is super common, but whatever. Soapstone, onyx. There we go. That's a cool one. But yeah. Anyways, look. Point is, just change stone to limestone. That's the first step. Also, why the fuck do we have diorite when it could be marble? I mean, it looks pretty similar, but way better, and it's called marble. No one knows what diorite is. Diorite's shit. But what my idea was, so now I'm looking at it. Oh my god, yeah, no, just replace diorite with marble. But what I was thinking was, you need diorite it's an awful eyesore, right? No one's gonna deny that. But sometimes, very rarely, you need a kind of mottled white block. Get rid of diorite. No one knows what it is. No one gives a shit. Instead, in the volcano or around the volcanoes, place pumice, and then people can get pumice, and it's light and like floats on lava and shit, just like netherite. Who's with me, right? Volcanoes, pumice, magma blocks, and then we should put shit in the volcanoes, right? We should put some kind of mobs. I don't know. You can put striders in there, sure. Why the fuck not? I don't know. I mean, if zombie pigmen can show up, I'm not gonna call them. They're zombie pigmen, okay? if zombie pigmen can show up in the overworld, why not striders? Which did I have my Nether update talk? I think I did. All right, I think I did. Yeah, no, I did. Okay, I won't go over that again. But fuck, striders look so terrible, and piglins I hate. Why didn't they put goat people in the Nether? Why? It just makes so much sense. Anyways, that's not. And now they're gonna put goats in the mountains. Ugh. That's not what's important right now. Think about it though. Volcano biome, lava source. Can put treasure in it. You know, good shit to mine under it. New white and gray block looks better than diorite. Makes more sense because people actually know what it is. Floats on lava, and then put some mobs in there. Done. Easy. New, not even biome, almost like a structure. Throw it in there. It'll look cool. And then you can probably add like soot or ash blocks or something. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Like they have charcoal, right? Charcoal. Yeah, you can find like charcoal blocks or whatever. Other thing. Why do you want a cave update? The desert and savanna need a fucking update, okay? They are pathetic. There's nothing there. Wow, no one wants to be in a desert. Desert is where you go in your creative world to test, TNT. Is where you go to blow shit up. Like, I get it in real life. The desert is kind of supposed to be inhospitable. But the savanna, I mean, the Egyptians lived... Where the fuck do you think they live? Where do you think most of the people in Africa live? Probably not a desert, but the savanna at least. And it's Minecraft. You can live on a snowy mountain. You can live in the desert. But why would you, right? There's not any good mobs there. And I think actually this is another... Is this one that got voted on or was this an option? I think there was a savanna update and it was like they're going to add lions or some shit. And that would be pretty cool. But I don't know if we actually voted on that. But yeah, either savanna or desert, preferably both, need something. And my brother and I were talking. And we thought of some good shit, okay? Because, first of all, the desert is the place for weird animals, all right? Nether can have monsters, sure. But if you're going to have more dangerous animals, the desert, where better than the desert and the savanna? Okay? Australia, Sahara, Africa, all that shit combined, you get the worst, most dangerous animals you can think of. First of all, snakes can be regional. In the desert or savanna, you can have rattlesnakes. If they're in the jungle, if they spawn in the jungle, they become, whatever kind of jungle snake they want to do. I don't know, something colorful. In the water, they can be sea snakes. Minecraft could use snakes. Why not? I don't see a reason why not. Because you can tame them. You can tame snakes. Not really, but you can. You can't, train them, but you can tame them. Look, snakes would be a good addition in the story. Scorpions. Desert scorpions be like spiders, but scarier. Alright, that's not super compelling. Better thing. Here's what my brother and I thought of. In the desert, what do you have right now in terms of structures, okay? Mostly it's just a bunch of shitty hills and cacti and tumbleweeds, okay? We have desert temples. Desert temples are pretty good. As far as temples go, they're not bad. But they're also pretty shit. But temples in general are pretty shit. Now you just go to, the Nether's got everything. Pyramids. Add pyramids to the deserts, okay? Huge sandstone structures filled with traps. They go deep underground, right? The surface level is just the tip of it. Just the tip of the iceberg. You enter... It goes deep underground. There's lots of traps, monsters, new mob. What's new mob? Mummies. Mummies in the pyramid. Hell, you can make the pyramid. I mean, you can do either way. You can make it just like a larger temple. Like a jungle temple has a couple of traps. I mean, better than that. Okay, jungle temples are a little bit shit. Better than that, have some of the traps, and then, like the desert temples have pressure, whatever. Have some traps and shit, and then throw some mobs in there, and then have some nice treasure in the center or whatever. And it's a maze, you gotta find your way through the maze to the tomb. Or, go the other way with it, just make it the new Woodland Mansion. Okay, forest has woodland mansion. Desert has a pyramid. Make it enormous. Make it a massive maze, with, and instead of illagers inhabiting a woodland mansion, and there being, like evokers are pretty tough, and there's only a few of them, instead have mummies. They don't want, it doesn't have to be like the new zombie. Like, make them tough. Give them some kind of ability. I don't know what, but make them able to do some shit, and then have like, the one, because there will only be one mummy per one pyramid, because it's the one burial. So they're in the tomb room, whatever, the sarcophagus room, and they guard the treasure, and make them like tough as shit. The problem we ran into is, how do you keep this from sounding like a modded boss fight or something, And I don't have the answers to all that. I'm not the entire Mojang team. That's for them to figure out. But Mojang, put something in the deserts, and if you're going to put something in the deserts, make it pyramids. That'd be awesome. Exist in real life, are really cool, look at, so pyramids, they're a thing in real life. They're really cool in real life. They're quite mysterious because we're not entirely sure how they were made. Even if we know how they were made, it's still an incredible feat of just human ingenuity and raw work power. And there's actual treasure in there that real people go and rob. And there's plenty of myth and legend surrounding it, and actual traps and shit that are designed to keep people from robbing them. And of all the classic horror mobs that Minecraft has not used yet, mummies are one of them. Okay, other than werewolves, what else is there? Mummies, vampires. Are they going to do vampires? Not likely. Frankenstein, well, he's the one and only. You can't do Frankenstein. So I feel like, it's one of those things. It just works so well. I don't know why you wouldn't do it. I do know, because how would you do the mechanics of it? The actual gameplay part. But I don't know, in terms of lore, aesthetic, design, I can't see a problem with it, right? It makes so much sense, because all of that I've said is stuff that either does exist in real life, or at least it's a legend that exists in real life, Pyramids do have a lot of treasure and traps and in general danger surrounding them in real life, and there are real stories of not real ghosts and demons and well, not demons, but like mummies and people going insane and haunting and shit in real life. Real fake stories, whatever. So adding it to Minecraft, like, there's not just giant mansions in the middle of the forest in real life. It's just fine. I'm no hate for the woodland mansions, but that was something that Mojang had to completely dream up themselves. Whereas pyramids, it's given right to you. It would look really cool. It would be a great landmark. It's like an above ground, underwater. Because there's the woodland mansion, and then the water version of that is the water, not the temple. What the fuck are they called? Whatever, the water. You get the point. Anyways. And then in the desert, you have the equivalent of pyramids. I feel like it makes too much sense not to do it. So yeah, do it. What was my other thing? Nether update. Not going to talk about that again. But seriously, for all my complaints about the Nether update, the Nether needed an update. It was just a shithole, which I guess was kind of the point, it being hell and all. But really, people are... How could that guy say, like, you wanted a cave update? Now, the caves have things in them. Caves are all that they need to be. And there's mine shafts, but there's dungeons and strongholds and mine shafts, and then just caves. There's just holes in the ground. What more do you want? Of course, I could see a benefit to an update. I could see things you could add, but there's not like glaring issues with caves. I don't feel. I don't know. There's so much need for a cave update. Look at the Nether. It's like it's netherrack and lava, and then occasionally a couple of things that aren't those two things. That's what the Nether is. It had cool mobs. Okay, that's the one thing I don't know why they need to fuck with. Having a mob that can travel through lava, great. Other than that, I don't know what's wrong. Ghasts are awesome. Blazes are awesome. They have all the best mobs. Zombie pigmen were great. Now they don't even have neutral mobs. Whatever. Don't know why you need to add mobs, but adding biomes, adding structures, that's great, because all you ever did when you went to the Nether was look for a fortress as soon as possible, and it took forever, and it was difficult, and you would die, and the loot wasn't even amazing. It was just a shit show. Now you can... I mean, why would you not want another update? Is this something I talk about on the podcast, by the way? Why... I appreciate a lot of things about another update in terms of new objects and items and blocks. Why netherite, though? Having... How do I put this? Oh, yeah. I have another thing that I've had an issue with for a long time, other than stone being just a generic stone and not actually existing in real life, is how the durability of items in Minecraft goes from wood to iron, because gold has the least durability of any, which does make sense. But anyways, so you go, here's my point. Of the 4 things that you can make tools and armor out of, the durability jumps from iron. Iron is the second best material next to diamond. And the jump from one to the other is enormous, durability-wise. It's ridiculous. I mean, it hasn't been a glaring problem exactly, but I mean, it's one of those things of you have to start with wood, right? And no one's going to use wood for any longer than they have to. They immediately move on to stone, which is a lot better than wood. And from stone, you very quickly can move on to iron, and then you basically use that until you get enough diamond to get the diamond tools you want. The jump from it's like wood to stone to iron is like a natural progression, and then diamond, it's like, and now I have diamond. Oh my god! It's a magical thing of you have diamond now. It's infinitely stronger than it's just such exponentially better material than iron. I feel like it leaves a bit of a gap, because the only other material that you have between those two, rarity wise, is gold. And again, scientifically, it makes sense why gold is weaker than any of the others. But then, like, what's the point? What's the point in being able to make? It's for the pimp. I understand that. I can absolutely see the benefit of wanting to wear gold armor and have gold tools. But gameplay-wise, I feel like it leaves something lacking. Again, it's never been an issue for me while playing the game. But when Mojang decides we're gonna add a new material that you can make swords and armor and shit out of, and they make it a step above diamond, I can see why that would get people more excited. Because, you know, who's excited for, like, we're introducing a new block and it's in between the best and the worst. Of course, not as many people are going to get excited about that. But it just, to me, mechanically makes a lot more sense to add a material between iron and diamond, because in the real world, we don't make a lot of tools out of diamond, and yet we do have a lot of materials much better than iron, namely steel, titanium, whatever, but steel, that's the logical one. Now, I get that it wouldn't look great. It would look pretty similar to iron, but like, you can do something, you can make do with it. All right, I mean, the look of netherite would work for steel, like a dark steel, and it would be a little bit lighter, but a dark steel. I like what netherite. I really like netherite. I like how it looks. I like how you get it. I like the process. You know, I like that they make it very tedious to get, and I like. Well, I'm a little off-put by the way that the armor looks different. I mean, if you're gonna make any armor texture look different than the others, like make it chainmail or something because you can't actually craft it. It's weird to me that you would craft a netherite helmet, in the same format that you would craft a diamond helmet, but then it has a different shape. But it's nothing to split hairs over. But yeah, what does bug me a little is that they added something a step above diamond before adding something to bridge that gap between iron and diamond, because now diamond isn't any less rare, but you get diamond items, and it's like you get diamond tools, and you're still not at the top. So now you got to go get netherite. And you know what? This is probably just a complaint, an issue for someone like me, who's absolutely miserable shit at Minecraft, and can never get diamond tools, and has never actually beaten the game or killed the wither or really accomplished anything in Minecraft. But I feel like it's a somewhat valid complaint because this is my fucking show. I run it, so eat my ass. But that's just what I think. I think logically, realistically speaking, it makes more sense to add an actual thing that exists in the world in terms of materials, because obviously netherite is a made up thing. And it makes more sense mechanically to have something that's better than iron but not as good as diamond. But whatever. I mean, Minecraft, do whatever you want. I definitely have more issues. William, now that you're here, I did a whole thing about the why I'm against the mountain update. Can you try and do you want to try and change my mind to redeem the goats, the purpose of adding goats to Minecraft? Because you somehow seem to think there's a purpose to that.
Okay, goats are adorable, and
foxes are adorable.
Yeah, but goats can climb.
Yeah, but what does that do for the game? Like,
I like goats. We don't have any horned. No, that's a lie. We have ravagers. But mountains suck, and yeah, that's why they need an update.
Yeah, it needs an update, but if goats is really what they need, you know what? I don't know.
I have more than just goats.
I'm gonna wait and see. Come what may. Like,
like some structures inside the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Get something good for going to the tops of mountains.
I'm still just struggling to see how goats are the new animal we need. We don't have birds of prey yet. We don't have eagles, like a hawk.
Maybe there's.
We already have llamas.
Sitting on the top of the mountain. You go up there, you can learn shouts.
I mean, that'd be better than goats. I also was saying, to return to the desert thing. I was saying, I didn't get to. Oh yeah, they wanted to add lions. I mean, I guess I could see the point of that. I did say we, should have more hostile mobs in the desert and savanna, but also, lions are lions. But where's the elephants, man? Elephants in Minecraft?
We might get elephants in
Minecraft. Oh, come on. I mean, look at that. Like, riding an elephant. I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be really cool. And my last thing was back to my stone thing. I think, why not have like rocks in Minecraft? Okay, not just meter by meter blocks of stone, but rocks that you can find on the surface that you don't have to mine and you can just pick up. Again, I don't know how far we can take this without it starting to look like a mod. Without it starting to feel moddy or. But just think about it. You would have the same mechanics as like sea pickles, where you can stack up 4 of them on a single block and they just, arrange themselves. And you just can come across them in certain biomes where they would be more likely to be found, like extreme hills. And, in the gravel fields and stuff, sometimes there'd just be rocks, and they can be stuck into the sides of blocks too. So you can just find rocks and shit. And if you have to add goats can make goats be able to climb on rocks that are sticking out of blocks. There you go, unintentional rhyming. But yeah, when you find rocks, you can just, because again, look, you can't break stone with wood. That's not a thing. Wooden pickaxes don't actually exist. Wooden axes don't exist. Right? Okay, you can't break down trees with other trees.
Well, you can't break down trees with fists either.
Yeah, I mean, given enough time, you could break branches off.
You could break branches off with wooden axe.
To be fair, I guess stone tools, for the most part, don't really exist either in terms of like stone pickaxes wouldn't have been a thing. But anyways, I'm not saying get rid of wooden tools. Okay, don't freak out. I'm just saying it would make just as much sense as having wooden tools. Did I say stone tools? I'm saying don't get rid of. I'm not saying get rid of wooden tools. I'm just saying that it wouldn't really like mess things up logic-wise if you just added stones as an alternative method of, you pick up 9 stones, you craft them together, you get a block of cobblestone, which is more of how cobblestone is actually made than by just busting up a stone and then, it is pre-cobbled stone. And yeah, I think it would be nice for decoration, because right now, if people want to put rocks or pebbles in their, in their terraforming, you got to put like a fucking stone button in the middle of the ground, which is an eyesore. So yeah, I mean, add rocks to Minecraft. I think it'd be cool. Ain't that a bitch?